Hello and welcome back to the Trainers of the World Tournament. I'm your host DeltaTDS, and today for match number 6, starting off the second week of the tournament, we've got the Pokemon Trainer AZ and Pokemon Rangers Solana. AZ's doing perfectly fine, don't read the Bulbapedia page about him. And Solana is one of our two characters from the side games. Technically from the anime, but she does appear in the Pokemon Ranger games. We see mostly ancient Pokemon on AZ's team, as I think mainline games he's only got 3 Pokemon, 4 if you count Floette, and then Solana's got various Pokemon from across the Pokemon Ranger decks. But once these trainers are ready, we can begin game number 1 and see just who will take the first game. Solana leading off with the Dugtrio and Flygon, AZ leading off with the Torkoal and Garganacl. Torkoal setting up the sun. We can see that Dugtrio is Solana's ace for this game, and Garganacl is AZ's ace for this game. Dugtrio going for Dig as Flygon goes for Boom Burst, attacking both opponents and getting that Throat Spray boost. Torkoal is going for the Shell Smash plus the White Herb combo, and Garganacl reveals that it has those leftovers. Garganacl tried to go for Salt Cure, but Dugtrio dodged that. Now, which Pokemon this Dugtrio is going for, we don't know until it comes up. Dugtrio uses Dig on Torkoal, nearly taking it out. Flygon with the Earth Power doing nearly 70% to Garganacl. Flare Blitz will nearly take out that Dugtrio, but the recoil does take out Torkoal, and Garganacl boosts its defense with Iron Defense. AZ's gonna send out the Diancie to replace that fallen Torkoal. There are 3 or 6 turns of Sun left. I'm not sure if either team can make use of it well. Diancie's gonna Mega Evolve. Play Rough is gonna take out the Flygon as Dugtrio hides underground, and Garganacl goes for that recover, putting it at 92% HP. Solana does send out the Deoxys here. Diancie goes for the Protect. Deoxys with the Psycho Boost, dealing 60% to Garganacl. Dugtrio goes for Dig. Garganacl goes for Body Press and takes out the Dugtrio. Solana's going to send out the Donphan. Diancie with the Diamond Storm is going to take out the Deoxys, while Donphan's Earthquake is going to be super effective on both of AZ's Pokemon, taking out that Garganacl as well, as the harsh sunlight fades. Solana's going to send out the Azumarill now that the sunlight's gone, and AZ's going to send out the Sigilyph. It's currently 4v3 right now. AZ is in the lead. Diancie is going for the Protect as it stops that Aqua Jet from Azumarill. Air Slash does nearly a third to Azumarill as Donphan goes for Knockoff and nearly takes out that Sigilyph, removing its Covert Cloak. Sigilyph holding on to 5% here. Diancie is going to take 34% from Aqua Jet, still holding on. Ice Shard does take out the Sigilyph, and Diamond Storm's gonna do 15% to Donphan and 42% to Azumarill, as it does eat that Citrus Berry and heal back up. AZ's gonna send out the Relicanth now. Diancie going for Protect again. Aqua Jet doing a critical hit, 20%. Earthquake damaging Azumarill and that Relicanth, as Head Smash takes out the Azumarill and does about 10% to Rattlecat. Solana's down to her final 2 Pokemon here. Miltank going for the Protect as Diancie goes for Diamond Storm, doing 17% to Donphan. Earthquake does take out both of AZ's Pokemon, leaving him with just that Golurk left. I wouldn't count him out, but it's certainly an uphill battle from here. Golurk, such an underrated Pokemon. So glad they gave him a Mega. Please let him keep Fissure. It would be so funny. Miltank's gonna Terra into the Ghost type as Golurk goes for Fighting type. Knockoff's not gonna be very effective on Golurk, getting rid of those punching gloves. Golurk goes for Drain Punch, but doesn't hit the Miltank thanks to that Ghost type. And Golurk is cursed. Miltank going for the Protect. Ice Shard doing 16.5%. Ice Punch nearly takes out the Donphan. And Golurk it's over for Golurk. Unless he can take 2 Pokemon out in this turn. But I think Ice Shard finishes it off. Donphan eating the Custap Berry. Going for Protect. Miltank with the Body Slam does take out Golurk. And Solana takes game number 1 of match 6. We saw that Solana does have Deoxys, though it didn't get much use out. We saw all 4 moves from Donphan, 3 of Miltank's moves, and 1 to 2 moves from her other Pokemon. As for AZ, we saw basically every move from Garganacl, 3 moves from Diancie, and then 1 to 2 moves from the rest of his Pokemon. Again, the fun thing about this season is that each trainer has 12 Pokemon, so they can completely switch up their team, or switch out the weak parts of their team, or just keep the same exact team. And that's the joy of it. And here we are for game number 2. We can see quite a few different Pokemon on the field already. AZ's got Gigalith, Claydol, Bronzong, Aerodactyl, and Carving, as Solana brought Celebi instead of Deoxys. Once these trainers are ready, we can see if AZ's updated team will bring this to a game number 3, or if Solana's going to take a 2-0 sweep here. Solana starting off with the Azumarill and the Flygon. AZ starting off with the Gigalith and Bronzong, so setting up that Sandstream. Will help some of AZ's Pokemon. Gigalith going for Protect against Flygon's Earth Power, as Azumarill goes for Belly Drum, and Bronzong goes for a Trick Room. Azumarill's going to eat the Citrus Berry and heal up to just under 70%. Already, a lot has happened in this first turn. Azumarill sitting at max attack. Bronzong setting up the Trick Room for AZ's team, which, aside from the Aerodactyl, is pretty slow. Aqua Jet gonna take out the Gigalith. Psychic Noise is gonna do 30% to Flygon, and Flygon goes for Earth Power, but it doesn't affect that Bronzong. AZ is gonna send out the Carbink to replace that Gigalith, with 3 to 6 turns of Sandstorm left and 3 turns of Trick Room left. Flygon going for the Protect, Azumarill going for Aqua Jet, leaving Bronzong at 9%. Bronzong using Psychic Noise on Azumarill, Dazzling Gleam doing about 20% to Azumarill, and it's left on 18% HP. This thing is terrifying, especially considering a lot of AZ's team is weak to water. Aqua Jet's gonna finish off the Bronzong. Dazzling Gleam's gonna finish off the Azumarill and take Flygon down to 17%. Flygon's using Earth Power, dealing 40% to Carbink, and it's currently 4v5 right now. Solana is in the lead. AZ is going to send out the Claydol as Solana sends out that Miltank. Claydol with the Room Service, lowering his speed thanks to that Trick Room. Dazzling Gleam's doing 19% to Miltank. Body Press doing 30% to Miltank, leaving it at 52%. Trick Room is over, and Sandstorm does last for another 3 turns thanks to Giglet's Smooth Rock. Earth Power doing 40% to Carbink as Miltank goes for Curse. Dazzling Gleam's gonna take out the Flygon and do 16% to Miltank as Carbink goes for Trick Room again. And Solana sends out the Donphan. With Flygon taken out, it's an even game right now. Dazzling Gleam's gonna do 20% to Donphan, and then 23% to Donphan again, as Earthquake takes out the Carbink. Claydol and Miltank ignoring it. And AZ sends out the Garganacl now. We know this Donphan does have Ice Shard and Earthquake, so Garganacl's not in the best spot. Dazzling Gleam's going to do about 20% to both Donphan and Miltank. Miltank does fall thanks to Donphan's Earthquake. And Solana's going to send out the Celebi now. I believe one of the more unique legendaries in this tournament. Or one of the not so often used legendaries. Garganacl going for a cover. Dazzling Gleam doing 10% to Celebi, 20% to Donphan. Donphan going for 12 point or knockoff, doing 12.5% to Garganacl. And Celebi with the Energy Ball doing 38%. Donphan going for Earthquake as Garganacl goes for cover and Dazzling Gleam takes up the Donphan. Energy Ball doing 40% to Garganacl as Solana sends out her last Pokemon, Dugtrio. Dugtrio's gonna Terra Dark as Claydol Terra Electric. Energy Ball's gonna take out the Garganacl. Dazzling Gleam does 70% to Dugtrio as AZ sends out the Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's gonna Mega Evolve and take out the Celebi with Dual Wing Beat. Rock Slide is gonna do 40% to Aerodactyl, 17% to Claydol, and Dazzling Gleam takes out the Dugtrio, which means AZ takes game number 2, and we will be going on to a game number 3 for match 6. AZ's updated team did prove to be helpful in this. You know, I was gonna try and be like, oh, we'll see what teams these trainers will do prefer, or if they figured out the formula to beat their opponent, but I can't find a way to word it perfectly, so just cut to whenever we get to game 3, because yeah, with 1 win and 1 loss under each trainer's belt, maybe one of them can crack the victory formula, make the perfect team to battle their opponent with, and move on to round number 2, where they're gonna face off against who? We'll find out at the end of this match. And we are back with game number 3, and once again we see a couple new Pokemon. One of the most jarring Pokemon is that no image Pokemon that AZ's brought, which turns out to be Mega Floette. It's not even gonna pop up the info about it. Cool. And Solana seems to have brought an Altaria to this game instead of that Miltank. Interesting decision, but we'll see how it plays out. Once these trainers are ready, we'll get to see who moves on to round number 2. Solana's leading off with the Dugtrio and Azumarill. AZ starting off with the Golurk and Torkoal. Azumarill's not going to like that sun a lot, so either Solana's going to be switching out that Azumarill, or she's got something up her sleeve to not worry about this sun too much. Solana's going to switch out the Altaria. That Cloud9's going to cancel out the sun. Liquidation's doing 94% to Torkoal, going for the Thunder Punch, doing 70% to Azumarill. And Torkoal going for Earthquake, dealing 20% to Golurk and another 20 to Azumarill. Solana's gonna Mega Evolve that Altaria, take it out the Torkoal and the Golurk with Liquidation and Hyper Voice. And now that the Cloud9 is gone, the sun is back up, and AZ sends out that Mega Floette and that Carbink. Altaria setting up the Tailwind. Liquidation's gonna do 40%, and Light of Ruin from Floette's taking out that Altaria, just deleting it off the field. Dazzling's gonna do just over a quarter to Azumarill. And Solana's lost her first Pokemon for this game, replacing that Altaria with the Dugtrio. Dugtrio going for the Rock Slide, doing 12 to 18% to AZ's Pokemon. Giga Drain taking Dugtrio down to the Sash, as Carbink flinches, unable to move, but heals up a little thanks to that Leftovers. Azumarill's on 7%. Dugtrio's on 1%. Floette's going for the Protect. Dugtrio going for Dig. Liquidation being blocked, and Dazzling Gleam takes out that Azumarill. Earth Power is going to take out the Carbink. Light of Ruin takes out the Flygon, taking out itself as well. It's now at 2v3 right now. AZ sends out his last Pokemon, the Claydol and the Relicanth, as Solana sends out the Celebi. This thing's gonna be terrifying for AZ's Pokemon. Relicanth going for the Protect. Dugtrio's going for the Throat Chop, dealing nearly half to Claydol, as Dazzling Gleam takes out the Dugtrio, and Donphan is sent out here. It's 2v2 right now. The Celebi is probably AZ's biggest threat. Claydol, terrestrializing into Electric. Energy Ball takes out the Relicanth. Knockoff nearly finishing off that Claydol, removing its Root Service as it sets up the Trick Room. Donphan going for Terra Ice, and with the Ice Shard finishes it off. And Solana takes game number 3, which means that she is the winner of match 6 with a 2-1 victory. We saw a lot of crazy plays from both trainers, and Solana will be moving on to round 2, where she will be facing off against Amaris in match 70. Join us tomorrow, where we will be seeing the Ultra Recon squad, Soliera, going up against the Dynamo leader, Canary? I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, take care.